Okay, so once your database loads up, you're faced with this screen here. Okay, and the first thing that we need to do in terms of setting up our database is think about the tables that we're going to use. Okay, so if you remember, databases really important for storing vast amounts of data in a kind of organized, logical and efficient manner, and the means to which we organize that data is through creating tables. Okay, so this is how you set up a table. So at the moment, the default it's already loaded up one table, so we need to design this table so it's ready to hold the data that we want it to. Okay, so I'm just going to flick into design view. Okay, and you'll see straight away table name comes up. Well, as we've already discussed, we need two tables, so I'm going to call this first one my owner table. I'm just getting the habit of putting TBL at the start there, so TBL owner. Okay, and press OK. And having done that, you can see TBL owner is saved, and I'm now in design view for that table. So this is where I can actually set up the field names for that table and the structure of that table. Now the first thing that I'm going to do is sort out the first key, the first field within the table. And you can see it's got this little key next to it, which is a primary key, and this is always the case for all tables that you create within database. The first key is always the primary key, and it's basically a unique number. Okay, a unique number that every record in that particular table will have. So I'm just going to change that and get into good habits again. You usually name the primary key just directly after the table, so in this case owner ID. And I'm going to leave the data type as auto number because with that data type there, it will automatically generate me a unique number for each record that I store in the database. Okay. The next step then is to actually fill in the fields in this column here with the things that I want to store about the owners for my database. So I'm just going to do that now. So just going to pause the video a second. Okay, so I've just quickly typed in the list of the field headings then. This is all the data that I want to know about my particular owners that I store in this pets database. So I've literally just typed in those column headings then, just to show you kind of how my table looks now. If I flick back into datasheet view and press yes, you can see that these field headings have now appeared across the top of the table here, so I'm beginning to get a bit of structure. If I just go back into design view, because I'm not quite finished yet, once you've put in your field names, you then need to think about the data type, and this is really important. If you scan through this list, and if you have a quick look at the data types available to you, you've got things like text, number, date, time, currency, yes, no options, etc. I just need to make sure that I've chosen the right data type for that particular field. Okay, so I can only enter certain types of data in that field when it comes to doing data entry, so I'm less likely to make a mistake. But also for particular fields, things like phone numbers or number fields, then there might be specific reasons there again why you need to have selected that data type. So I'm scanning through this list. I'm fairly happy that title, with that being Mr, Ms, etc., text is going to be the right one for that. Forename, surname, again text, just made up of characters. Gender, yeah, should be text. But age, I'm going to change to number because potentially that could be involved in a calculation at some point or other. Okay, so increasing the age every year, for example, by 1. Address line 1, address line 2, address line 3, all text. Postcodes, although they include numbers, we don't do any calculations with a postcode, so text again would be suitable. And then we get onto the classic database kind of misconception, which is that telephone numbers should be stored as a number. Okay, well, I'm just going to show you quickly why we don't choose number. So I'll have a look at this example. So I'm going to select number here for the phone number. I'm just going to flip back into datasheet view, press yes, and let me just scroll across to where I enter a phone number in here. Okay, so just watch what happens when I try and store a normal phone number in here. 014-226-245, so just a random phone number. As soon as I click out, can you see the zeros disappeared? Access is saying, well, you've told me that this particular field is a number field. Numbers don't begin with 0, so it's removed the 0 from the front of it. Okay. The other reason that we don't use number is obviously that we never do calculations with phone numbers, so it has no need to be in number type. So let's go back into design view, and let's just change that back to text. Okay, so text again is absolutely fine here. Remember, text isn't just letters A to Z, it includes numbers and all the other characters on the keyboard, so text is absolutely fine. And that's obviously the same for mobile number, it's the same for email address, and it's the same for contact. So in this field, this table in terms of setup is quite straightforward. Let's just show you that that's working, so let's just flip back into datasheet view again. If I spin across to telephone number now, if I add the 0 in, okay, click off, well, because that field is now recognizing text, it's quite happy for the 0 to be in front of it, and thus that is why you use text for phone number fields. Okay, so that is the setup of the owner table done.